all season long. On Tuesdays at 5 o'clock, we'll be joined by Commanders running back Austin Ekeler, who joins us right now for his first appearance of what will be 17 conversations this season. We are so thrilled to have Austin as part of our show. Great to have you back on the program with G&D here, man. How are you?
What is going on, fellas? Looking forward to it all year, man. I'm excited. I like doing these weekly shows because I know I get to build a relationship with you and anyone else you bring on to the show, and it's always been a good time. So looking forward to it.
No, we're pumped, man. It's an honor. What's the mood of the troops here after week number 1, man? How's everybody feeling?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it was not the outcome we wanted. We want to see a lot of things improve, and that's what we'll get back to work doing. It's also week 1, so there's a lot to kind of build off of from things that we need to learn from. And I think that's what DQ really hit on, and I think that was really important, is that this is learning, and you have to treat it like that. Treat it like this is something we're going to learn from, come back and get better from, because if you don't, then it doesn't mean anything, and you just got your butt kicked for no reason. But hey, as we continue to learn, get stronger, the NFL is about getting hot at the right time. And what does that mean? That means continue to come back, watch the film. We call it Tell the Truth Monday, right? Take the coaching, take everything that we can, and then get back out there and try to fix it for the next week and continue to build into what will be hopefully our final product at the end of the year, where we're on a roll. So I know we have some other questions, but I'd love to get into it. I'm looking forward to keep talking about week 1. It was good stuff. I mean, I can just jump into it if you want, but what else?
Go for it.
Yeah, so I think something, because everyone's gonna I think how'd Jayden do? I think we saw a lot of great things from Jayden. It was also his first game, and I remember my first game as a rookie, and everything kind of went faster, and it was like a surreal moment for me. I can't obviously speak for Jayden, but I think that's one of those things that as a rookie you get into, and you're like, whoa, like this is it. And it's not that you necessarily try to do too much, but you like it's going so fast, so things aren't necessarily clicking like they have been in like practice, where things maybe a little bit slower. You can never simulate the actual game day. And so looking forward to him. I'm loving what I've seen. That man can absolutely fly. I've never seen him fly like that, at practice. And so to see him really running like that, I was like, okay, like this man can run. But I know, DQ came out and said it today, like we don't want to live in a world where he's run 16 times a game. That's what I get paid to do. That's what B-Rob gets paid to do, and the receivers and our tight ends. So looking forward to seeing him come and bounce back and put another week together and grow from that first one.
Along those lines, I don't mean Jayden specifically, but just kind of broadly, Austin, as fans and media on the outside, look, we have no idea what to expect going into week 1. We think we know some things, but nobody really knows anything. Is it like that at all, even in the locker room, where you guys are mostly practicing against yourselves? I guess now in these years here in the 2020s, you also get some of those joint practices, but the preseason there's not a lot to it. You're not game planning. You might play a drive or two. So, as you get ready to play a first game, do you guys really know your strengths, your weaknesses, where you're going to get exposed, where you're going to dominate, or is it also like a learn-on-the-fly thing for you guys, too?
I think it's both. I think, you as an internal team know, hey, this is what we're good at. This is the players that we have. And, you have to look at kind of the profile of what your team is, what's the identity there. But at the same time, you're also in a new year, so new players can be doing new things. Like for me, instance, when I was a rookie, I was really a special teams guy in my rookie year. And then the next year I started playing more offense. And then the third year after that, I was actually starting for a few games. And so you never know the progression or, how people have improved or how people have kind of changed throughout the offseason, which you really have to wait and see as we get going into games. And one game is definitely not, an identity setter where like, oh, this is how it's going to be. Because if it was that way, then, it'd be a lot of, bad football. And, in my opinion, there's a lot of mistakes that don't happen at the end of the year that are happening at the beginning of the year. So a little bit of both, I would say.
Austin Ekeler with us here on Grant and Danny. That first catch where it looks like, it's a check down on third down and you break a couple tackles, make some guys miss, bursting forward. I'm going, oh, hell yeah. And then you trot it off to the sideline. How do I get more Austin Ekeler touches? Is it something, just stick aside, buddy? Is it something in all sincerity where after a little while you might feel comfortable, maybe tugging on a sleeve of Cliff Kingsbury? I mean, I got some ingredients I would like to cook, please. Is there any time where you feel like that could happen?
Hey, well, after that one, I was just tired, so I needed a break. But
Okay.
the thing is, look, we're getting a rhythm going. We'll see kind of how things play out. We got some playmakers on the field. We want to see some other guys, get the opportunity to make those as well. But when they come your way, you got to be ready for them. And on that play in particular, like it's back to doing what I do. That's how I made a living in this league. First I was with Phillip Rivers, and so I caught a ton of balls. Right, I've had a 970 or 97-yard season, 107 catch season. Like I've made a living off of just turning check downs into chunk plays like that. So one thing you can look forward to is more of that for sure.
Yeah, that was 4 catches for 52 yards in the debut on just 4 targets for Austin Ekeler. Maybe we could turn up the faders on those targets a little bit. Your leading receiver going into week 2 for the Washington Commanders, Austin Ekeler on Grant and Danny.
We were actually talking about that today, and it's like, yeah, that's great and all, but hey, we gotta get these other guys activated. I want to see Terry ripping them. We want to see Ertz running down there because look, it's great and all for us as a running backs, right, to get catches and stuff like that. We also run the ball, obviously, but you want your receivers that are going down the field making those plays, leading your team in reception, so and receiving yards. So looking forward to seeing these other guys get activated as we keep going here through the season.
When you came on the show a few weeks back, we asked you, like, who's the slept-on guy fantasy-wise, and you said, I feel like people are thinking I'm done, basically. You're like, I think I'm going to have a good season. So we had our Grant and Danny Listener League. We had a bunch of listeners, 14 listener league, come out at a big bar, and Kristen took Austin Ekeler. She's like, you got to tell Austin I listened, I took him. So Kristen's got you on the roster. She got 9.2 points in the receiving category from you this past week.
Double-digit score, Austin Ekeler.
But joking aside, I will say that it seemed to me like on that first catch, you answered whatever there were as far as questions. Like you said, basically after last year, a lot of people were questioning how much is left, or was it an injury? Was it this? Was it that? To me, that was open field, elusive, evasive, wiggle, Austin Ekeler. You looked like it was 6 years ago.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I'm still in my 20s now, so everyone needs to calm down here.
But you know how running back years go. Like 28 as a running back, people act like you're a 40-year-old
senior citizen on AARP.
I know.
Right?
Well, here's the thing. In fantasy, you're judged off of your past season, right? And so obviously last year, high ankle sprain, was dealing with that all year, and then our team was just not connecting like we thought we were going to. So that is now people's last memory of me. And so now is a new opportunity for me to go paint that, hey, okay, Austin can still play. It was funny, actually. I'm in a Discord with Washington fans because I love to be around fan communities. And they're like, hey, actually, you kind of look a little fast out there. He's like, I guess you still got some speed. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, you guys thought I just tanked, and now I'm just an old man out there and can't run anymore. But like I said, that was the last memory about me. So now it's, hey, let's go repaint the picture.
I've watched you a lot, but I never study it as close as I do now that you're on the team that I cover and watch back the All-22 and all the stuff as fans we have access to now. Dude, is this a common number of walloped hits? Like, you got destroyed a few times. It was like you got caught on, like, in body lean moments. I mean, it was just like, that's not a normal day at the office, right? That there was some big time hits.
One thing you'll learn about me is that I'm very compact. I'm also very light. Well, not very light. I'm just lighter than most of the guys that are hitting me. Let's say that. So being compact and being light is a tendency to bounce off of things. Sometimes for the better, sometimes not so much. Right?
My 6-year-old son's like that, Austin. Yeah.
What's that?
So my 6-year-old son's like that. Just he's small and compact, bounces off a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So like your son, right? We have things in common. So here's what's great about it is you bounce back up because, they think they just, truck stick to you, and they might have. But guess what? For you being so compact, like you felt the thud and got pushed a different direction and, ended up falling down on that one. So yeah, it's going to be something you'll see just because of the nature of my physical makeup. But hey, as long as I bounce back up, no big deal.
No doubt. But kidding aside, like, what does it feel like? And I guess after you have 2 carries and 4 catches, for a guy in your career who's been a bell cow at points, you probably feel like $1 million. But if there is a week where you're getting, say, 17 carries, 8 to 9 catches in your career, I mean, are you going up steps that first morning, or are you like a sleep on the couch guy? Like, what does that feel like on your body?
I was telling my wife, like the worst thing in season is the flipping stairs because it's not my it's my ankles, man. my damn ankles that are like sore every single morning. I got to do this like little routine, stretch them out, but then going down the stairs, they're just so dang sore. But all the bumps and bruises in the legs and the shoulders, and like right now, like my oblique is, a little bruised or feels like a little funny, but after a couple of days, it'll go away. You kind of get used to it as a football player. I've been playing the sport for like 22 years. And so every year in the fall, I'm getting beat up, but it's just kind of part of the toughness part of it. So it is what it is.
Austin Ekeler with us here on G&D every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Austin, it's a new everything, right? Like you're new. Most of the team is new. Coaching staff's new. GM, everything. It's kind of this all brand new deal. How long should fans? I mean, we're not a patient lot as fans, short for fanatical. But when do you feel like, hey, this is when we should be in a rhythm as an offense, when it should be secondhand, when it should be, comfortable and commonplace, and you guys kind of have established yourselves who you are and what you want to do week in and week out? What's kind of a normal time frame?
I wish there was just a black and white answer, like, 4 weeks, and this is why.
Right.
But we have so many new things that
it
really comes down to us as players, and it comes down to us as coaches. And look, we have a rookie quarterback, right? That's something that, he has a lot to learn. Like, that's just what it is. And so some learn faster than others, and it depends on us around him too. Are we protecting this guy? Are we getting open for him? Are we running the ball effectively? Like, how quickly is that coming together? And are we continuing to progress? Are people staying healthy? That's another one, right? Are we having the same guys on the field building that mesh? And look, I honestly can't tell you. Obviously, you want it to be sooner than later, but that's not the reality of football. Football, I think, is you go out there, you give your best shot. Sometimes you'll lose a game. Sometimes you'll win a game, and you didn't even play at your best or play a solid game. But it's who can sustain the highest level of play and not make the small mistake. Because how we say it in our room is games are lost, not won. So who can sustain, right, the level of competition and level of play where you did enough not to lose. And so, because it's really competitive, right? The margin of error is so close because there's such a good high level of competition. So it's really hard to tell, good games, bad games. It might have been a misstep, and that made you give up a sack. And it's like, well, is that because you're not meshing well? No, it's because your technique. So there's so many different factors. So time will tell. There's no answer to that. If there was an answer to that, I would be a head coach right now,
That'll have to wait, hopefully, for a handful of more years. Austin Ekeler here on Grant and Danny, first of a season's worth of appointments with us at 5 o'clock on Tuesdays. I was thinking about this when I was watching the Friday night game in Brazil, and I just wanted to bounce this off you. Footing for a running back for a skill guy, it was obviously terrible in that particular situation where they were playing an international game. But do you handle all that pregame when you run out onto the field and kind of determine what you're going to wear? Is it always pretty much the same thing that you default to? And then grass versus turf, like what are your thoughts at this point on some of those kind of surface debates?
Yeah, I think the international games, you're going to get obviously more variance in the field play just because they're not like we are over here and where we are focusing solely on a football field being a American football field, which is very different than what we call soccer. That type of field. And so that's where you're getting the variance at. Obviously, we want the best footing, but I understand, and I think players kind of understand, doesn't mean we like it at all, but there's going to be some variance when you go to somewhere international and you're playing in a different culture and playing on a different field. So it's just one of those things that we kind of have to deal with, unfortunately. Like I said, doesn't mean we like it. But then coming back to the States, love me some good grass, like not just any grass and like, oh, this is fine. I've definitely played on grass that is not very secure and would not recommend, like Lambeau Field during the end of the year. Oh my goodness. Like it is just not great. And so playing on good grass, like I feel like that is ideal. Turf, I mean, there's so many different things that we don't like about turf. I mean, like even just how your joints feel. I have to wear literally turf tape all over my body so that I'm not just getting skid, like my skin skid off every single time I go to the ground. And so it's just little things like that that add up as far as quality of life. We're at the highest level of football, making a ton of different, revenue streams. Like, in my opinion, you'd think we would be putting the best type of, conditions for our players that they want to play in. But we don't always necessarily, see eye to eye with, people that are putting these fields in. So that's what we're dealing with right now.
All right, Austin, last one for you. All right, this is a personal favor for me. Let's say I'm in a social gathering. Let's say there's a bunch of people. You're in the game.
Okay.
Give me something that I can look for so that I can sound really smart. I love sounding smart. I'm not, so I kind of try to pass off like I know what I'm talking about.
Ooh.
Like everyone can see when you make a catch and make a wiggle, right? Give me like a hidden thing where I'm going to go, watch what he does on this play. Give me like a secret little tip.
Ooh, I think different, like watch the quarter. I think something, maybe this is too obvious. I was going to say like, if a quarterback looks a certain way and does an audible that way, and then if you know the route that person just ran, you'd be like Rodgers last night. I know he gave like a little slant, or he gave like a little curl to number 5, Wilson.
Garrett Wilson.
And you could be like, yeah, Garrett Wilson. You could be like, dang, you see Rodgers give Wilson a little curl right there? He got to open in that zone. Like things like that where it's like,
oh, yeah.
How did you know that? But you saw him look over there and you saw him give him like a little, some type of signal. You obviously don't know what the route is, but then you can watch the route and see what he ran. He's like, dang, he gave him a curl route and got to open it. That was good. That was a good audible. So use that one. That'd be a good one.
I like that.
I love it.
Two quick things before we let you go. First is I saw your wife on Instagram gave you an outfit to wear for week 1, and it was so terrible. You told her basically no. She gave you like a sweater vest, and you droned pretty hard, so I don't have to pile on. But what was that sweater? I mean, if you guys haven't seen this, hilarious. You can check it out on his Instagram. I'm not a fashion guy, but God, that was bad.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you can see me. I was definitely roasting it. I should bring her in here to help her explain herself, but maybe next time. But she had a backup plan, thankfully, and we went with the backup plan for that one. So, look, the expectation is high. She did all of my outfits last year, so we'll have one of those every single week. She lets me do the content stuff. So it'll be a fun little series we're involved in.
I love it. We'll be checking it out. And then lastly, so as we go forward this season, right, as a segment, this is our first one, so we're going to kind of workshop this on the fly. Just kind of a little show
meeting
here with Austin Ekeler. So we need an intro song, first of all, a song that you want played as your walk-up song. So if you know it off the top of your head, that's fine. We could also just get it before next week. It's a little homework. The other thing is, it's your segment, right? So we've got our own stuff we're going to do, but do you want listener questions? Do you want to have guests that we bring on for you or you bring on? Do you want to do anything fantasy? Like, what do you want this to be?
I love some listener questions. It's always a good one. I always love recapping the game. That's low-hanging fruit for us as well. I'll talk on things that I can talk on. I always can't talk on anything or on everything anyway, just because.
Give us the first 15 script for next week.
Yeah,
we'll
do you know it yet already?
Yeah. Right. So I can't give you that, all the obvious stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah, love the listener stuff. Walk-up song, that's, we can work on that one. Fantasy, I have actually, so I don't have my show anymore with Yahoo. So my fantasy knowledge has kind of been lacking a little bit. I haven't been up to date with as much as I usually am in that space. So yeah, I mean, other than that, then I think we're free game, and I think we could even make conversation.
I think we got a game plan. Well, we'll get with you before next week for the debut of your walk-up song, and we're in a good spot.
Awesome.
We got a good thing going here. Thanks so much. We're fired up about it.
Appreciate you, buddy.
It's going to be a fun season.
Awesome. Looking forward to it, y'all.